Welcome back, everybody, to the One Day Podcast. I am one of your hosts, Alan.
And I'm Lizelle. Happy Friday, everybody. Even though when this goes up, it's not going to be a Friday.
Right.
When we are recording this,
Mm-hmm.
it's Friday morning for me
It's
and
Thursday here,
Thursday
yeah.
evening for you. Yeah. For anybody who doesn't know, there's like a 14-hour, is it
It's
14 hours at the
14 right
minute?
at the moment, yeah.
14-hour time difference between us, and it changes like halfway through the year. Whenever you guys
Yeah,
have your daylight savings is when it
to
changes,
like
so it
15
goes to 15
hours.
hours.
What's
Yeah.
crazy about that is that we would always have like a nice little routine when it was 15 hours.
Mm-hmm.
And when daylight savings hit, it just screws up the whole thing for us.
Yeah, and then we have to like figure out
Adjust.
our routine all over again. Yeah, so how are you feeling today, my love?
I'm
What's been
good.
going on with you?
I'm good. We if you can see what I'm wearing, I'm repping Boston.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully, and obviously for me, I love Steph Curry as much as I love LeBron. So, well, when you guys see this, we'll see who's in going to be the finals in the NBA. But I would love for it to be Boston against the Golden State Warriors. So I'm
We'll see.
super pumped for who
Super pumped for
super pumped
this.
for this. Yeah, I hope we watch Quan Tran on YouTube. He's like a cook
Yeah,
YouTuber, and he says it all the time. Super pumped for
super pumped
this.
for this.
So yeah, I'm super pumped, literally super pumped for the NBA Finals. Even though
Mm-hmm.
my Lakers and LeBron didn't make it to even the play-in, I'm just excited
Yeah,
that Jason Tatum and those guys, and also the Warriors is doing well. So both teams that I root for when the Lakers are not playing, I'm happy that they're going to be going, hopefully going head to head.
we'll see. We shall see. By the
Yeah,
time this episode goes up, it's going to be like
they're probably playing
past tense,
already.
but we'll see what happens. I mean, for me, I'm super pumped for what I'm about to do next week.
Oh, that's right. We can't tell
Mm,
you guys yet, but yeah.
yeah, I got some exciting things coming up.
Yep.
So fingers crossed. That's all I'm gonna say.
We don't want to give away too much, but you
Yeah,
guys will
but I'm
definitely
super
know
pumped for that.
for
Yeah.
sure.
Before we get into today's topics, as always, you guys know the drill. We're not really strangers.
Mm,
Pull a card each and ask each other a question. So, who wants to go first, babe?
let's have you go first because I think I've been going first all the time.
Okay. All right. We'll alternate
Okay.
week by week, like who goes first. Okay. So my question is, what do you wish we did more of?
Shit, that's a long ass list.
I can think of a few things that I wish we did more
I
of.
know. Seriously, like
I
down.
can think of one thing that
I'm
I wish we
definitely.
did more of.
Oh, tell me about it.
But what do you wish we did
Huh.
more of?
Well, aside from the obvious, since we're long distance, aside from like
Mm-hmm.
being together or seeing each other, I think for me it's the day to day. Well, two things, and I might be answering your questions, but I know when we do get together, we get along so well. We have a lot of good time, and even when we're apart, we work really well together. So I
Mm-hmm.
wish that we can do the day to day routine I do, where I wake up, bring my daughter to school, go work out, whether I hoop or walk and run. Those are the things, and like the everyday things that I do, everyday struggle I do. I wish you were here with me doing all those things, going to the grocery store, or even like planning a meal for the whole week. Like I said, like the last episode, like you're so organized. Those are the things I wish you were here for, and I would love to do more of if you're here. And our weekend date nights, because it's cool that we do it over
Yeah.
the
Mm-hmm.
laptop and we watch the same thing, but we had like a really good glimpse of how it's gonna look like when we were in Paris, because we would
Mm.
literally Netflix and chill. Like we had no choice but to watch Netflix. We definitely had a glimpse of what date night looks like for us in the future.
Mm-hmm.
So that's wish I wish I
Yeah.
had more of.
Okay, to answer that in reverse, I am exactly the same. Like the obvious, yes, I wish we could do more of a lot of things
Aside from
that couples
doing
get to
it,
do.
Doing the
That's like number one on the list. But no, for real, I wish we could do more of the little things. And I always say that, yeah, I really appreciate those things when we do get together, that we're able to do those things. But it's like so minor, like things that you would generally take for granted that become so much a part of like a
right.
routine or schedule. Like even to be able to go grab a coffee together, go for a walk together, go to the gym together, go grocery shopping together.
Mm,
Like those are things that I wish we could do more of. Just like the little everyday things. I know that we get to be on the phone all the time, and like I let you know, like, oh, I'm heading to the gym now, or I'm
yeah.
going to go to my grocery shop. But I wish we could do the little things together.
Right.
I know our time will come one day, but yeah,
One
it's
day.
definitely the little things. Yeah.
Or make love.
That's already a given.
That's aside from like just being together, yeah. That's pretty much I'd
Yeah.
say for the most part just spending the time that we usually do over the phone.
Because, I mean, if you think about it, all we really do get to do is talk. Like, we don't really get to hold hands and like kiss and do all the cute like relationship stuff. We just that's how our communication with one another was kind of forced to become so good.
Yeah.
If you're feeling a certain way or if I'm feeling a certain
You
way,
can tell.
you
First
can
of all.
tell, first of all, yeah. But it wasn't just like I'll give you a hug so you feel better. It's like you really got to talk through your feelings. So
Yeah.
like, man, sometimes I'm sick of that. Like I just want a hug.
All right.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like I
Oh,
don't need like
I
words. I just need
wish.
like
I
mm,
wish I wish it was that easy because there's a lot of things that we go through as a long distance couple that would alleviate all those things. Because I could just hug you, it will
yeah.
definitely solve so many like miscommunications we had. You know.
Oh, tell me about
Oh,
it. The amount of
oh,
times.
oh,
Oh my
oh,
gosh.
so
Stop.
many. I'm like, no, that's what I really mean was this, and I'm like, fuck, I gotta explain it. You know.
I'm like, what do you mean when you say this? Like, what does that
Like,
mean?
I mean well. I'm not gonna, like fuck. But yeah,
Yeah,
it'll
but
be so much better.
sometimes you don't need words. You just need like
A hug,
physical, yeah, human interactions. But we don't get
squeeze
that.
your booty or something. Like, no, you see
Mm-hmm.
what I'm doing, right? I'm not mad at you.
Exactly. We're very much on the same page with that.
Yeah,
But I can't wait for all of that stuff. Like when we actually get
for
to be together,
sure.
we definitely get to see a glimpse of that when we're actually together,
Hmm.
obviously. That's how I know we get along so well because
Right.
obviously Alan and I aren't perfect. We definitely do have our days where we're just not getting along and we argue about stupid shit, like little things, like
What everyone
miscommunications,
probably
like
argues, same shit.
yeah, like the phone cut out, I couldn't hear you, that type of
I'm like, what are
thing.
you
Like,
talking about? I didn't hang up. I never want to hang up.
but in person, we don't really
No, we don't.
argue about
We
anything.
don't. We get
Yeah.
along really well. Like we want to do the
Yeah.
things that we want to do, and we're always down for it, and we just have a good time.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, as much as like technology has come into our aid, because I don't think we could do the old school like writing letters and such,
Send it through a pigeon.
it can also be like frustrating at times because like
Technology, as
yeah.
much as it's on our side, sometimes it's not on our side. This is my question. This is funny.
All
I'm
right.
super pumped for this. If we weren't in a relationship, what pickup line would you use
Damn.
with
Okay.
me? Pickup line.
Ugh.
Ugh. Ugh.
What pickup line would I
Like,
use?
name a scenario if I was like in a store and you see me and like, I caught your eye. How would you like approach me? What would you say?
I mean, I don't think I would approach you.
Just come up with a pickup line. I never got
I
picked up
don't I don't
before.
no 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 I don't mean it like that. Like obviously I would see you, I think you're really cute, but my style is more like I'ma just look at you.
That's it. I'm like, oh,
Like I'll
she looked
okay,
at me.
no.
We together now.
No, no, no. I'll give you the eyes. You know when you like be looking at someone, you're like checking them out. I'll do that.
Okay.
But I don't know what I would say to you because I'm like, I don't know if I can like literally walk up to you and try to pull a conversation out of thin air. Like
Hmm.
sometimes I don't know how guys do that, like how they walk up to
This,
people and
this is how
like
they do it.
just try to
It's like you have you have mirrors in your pants. I see myself in
stop. My dumbass would be laughing and then they would think that I was
I would never use. I
interested.
heard that somewhere, but I'm like, I would never use pickup lines. That's
I don't
funny.
know what I would say to you, babe. Like I might compliment
Hmm.
you. See, I'm not like so literal as like
You
I don't have
you
that
took
kind
my
of
style.
confidence, I don't think.
That's how I would do
Yeah,
it.
like I would probably find something on you to compliment you
Yep.
on to
Hmm.
let you know that I'm looking at you and
Hmm.
I'm noticing you.
Yeah. After that, man,
Yeah.
I'm gonna trap you with a conversation. Yeah.
That's one thing about Alan. He is very charming.
I, oh,
So
never heard that one.
you are. You're very charming. Like you can literally talk to anybody.
I never
So
thought I was charming. I thought I was more friendly. Like I come off with like a friend zone like vibe, like
no,
a
you
brother
well
vibe.
to me, definitely not to me.
Oh, okay, definitely not.
I would hope not. To me, you're very charming,
Hmm.
and that's why it was so easy for me to like open up to you when we're getting to know each other, and then as well in person, because you're like yeah, you're friendly, but in a different kind of way. Like you're very
Hmm.
charming.
Okay. I
Yeah.
never looked at
Like,
myself that
and
way.
that's the thing about you sometimes is like if you're talking to somebody and you compliment them, they might think that you're like hitting on them because of the way that you do it. There's like a way that you
Hmm.
do it that I'm like, okay,
No, I'm
hmm.
just enthusiastic most of the time. Like I just talk to anyone and everyone. I think people. I don't know if I've had anyone go as far as they thought I'm hitting on them, but I just talk to everybody. So
I mean, you're a, if we're gonna get
I'm a Libra.
into star signs, you're a Libra. They're big flirts. So
Remember that song with Kells?
with who?
Kells.
With who? I mean, okay, how would you? What was the question?
If we
What
weren't
would your pickup
together,
line
how
be?
would what kind of pickup line would I use on you or something like that?
Okay, so let's picture this.
Hmm.
Walking down the street, probably just went to go for a run. You walk past me. I look at you, give you a nod, smile. Because
Um.
I smile at people, you know, so I
Oh,
would
that's
probably just
it.
like,
You smile at someone, it's definitely you're really pretty. They're gonna be like, "Oh, she likes me."
no, it's like a, because, okay,
I know
here in
you're being
Australia, I don't know
friendly,
if it's,
but over here they're
well,
like, "Oh wow, okay, I have a chance."
no, 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 it's not that at all. It's like I don't know if it's like that like this over there in the
Hmm.
US, but like if you're walking
They're friendly
in
over
the
there,
morning, like going for a walk and you walk past someone, they'll say like all the time, "Good morning, good morning."
right?
Like,
Yep.
you know, smile and say good morning. If you be looking down at the ground and like don't really respond, it's not that you're rude, it's
Hmm.
just that like, oh, okay, so they're not really
Yeah,
that
I'd say they do it
friendly.
here as
Like,
well. It's just maybe
yeah,
not
so
New York, maybe not Manhattan,
maybe not.
but like because they're always on the go. But over here, at least when I bring my daughter to school, some of the parents that I don't know, they just say good morning or they acknowledge
Yeah.
you. So
Okay.
hmm,
So let's say picture that we're walking down the
if you were
street. I walk
running and you
past.
did
Good
like for
morning.
me, I'll tell you like my background on. It's not like oh I'm a pickup artist or anything like that. Uh, but I've learned how to build rapport with
There's an
people,
art to this.
and
There's levels to this.
exactly, and I think I've gotten rejected enough to know, not to say I was hitting on anyone, but I've had like maybe two jobs and two careers where I'd had to like be on point with like my first line and know my script and build an instant connection. I used to do cold calls in college. I would come up to you same way. I would like I normally I would compliment you. Like if you're running, I'm like, "Oh, are those hey, where did you get those shoes? Are those comfortable?" Cuz I run too or I want to run. How like where would you suggest to get that?
You really would
Yeah, it's the
approach
easiest.
me like
Well,
that?
I always look at shoes because that's what I'm passionate about. So it's
Okay.
easy for me to spark a conversation on someone. Like if you're doing something active, I'm gonna talk to you about the obvious. Like, oh, you're already running. I'm gonna talk to you about your shoes.
So what if I like didn't stop and I was like, Full Locker. I got them from Full Locker.
I'll
And I just keep
I'd
walking.
run with you with a
Would
suit
you
on.
really?
I'd probably like try to stop you and try to say, "Hey, do you have a second?" And then I'll just try to get get your attention and build rapport. Are you from here? You know, this is what I'm doing. But like, if I want to get to know you, then I'll like ask you, "Hey, sorry to bother you. I know you're in a run. Here's my number. I usually have a card with me. Here's my number.
You,
Yeah, it'll be
babe,
quick.
you gonna set this up like it's some type of like business
No, no, no. I would
situation.
give
Like,
you a card just so that you can see my, I had my Instagram there, my phone number, so and email. So like, I'm not a stranger.
that's
You could
funny.
look me up. I'm that open. So if I give him my card and it has my Instagram and it has all my info, my phone number and my email, go feel free, look it up.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean obviously there's no like guarantees or anything like that, but that's how I would approach you. I wouldn't like off the bat like hit on you or anything. I'm
Yeah,
not that type.
I don't have any lines. Sorry, I'm not
I'm
that
not
smooth
either.
with
I'm
it.
not that smooth either. Is your feet hurting? Because you've been running in my mind all day. That was from Will Smith in
Oh
Fresh Prince.
gosh. Well, speaking of pickup lines and relationships and trying to pull things out of thin air,
Speaking of
today's
balls, no, just kidding. Today's topic,
today's topic, what are we talking about today? We're talking about, does marriage validate a relationship?
yeah,
And also, what are your thoughts on wearing a ring?
yeah,
Does it matter? Does it
wearing
not
your wedding
matter? Do
ring,
you care? Do you not care?
right?
So, let's start with, does marriage validate a
Hmm.
relationship? What are your thoughts?
Our last episode, we spoke about this, about like some people, and I'd say women, like really just want to be married and have that ring and have that like, I want this ring on my finger. I want a really nice wedding, and that's really what they care for. The whole point of a marriage is not just that to celebrate, but like to like really get to know each other and be one together, like do everything together, have the same goals, same financial goals, same family goals, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, yeah, does it validate like a marriage? Either, I personally thought like, yeah, when we were young, I think like obviously it's a man-made concept like marriage, right?
Hmm.
Like someone in the religious, part of the world like say, "Hey, you're going to get married. This is what you need and this is what you need to to be together." And I think that being married doesn't validate a relationship at all.
I think I'm definitely on the same page with you. And I've always said, like, it's crazy because when you and I first started
Hmm.
talking, said to you, I don't want to get married.
Yeah, I
Like, that's
remember.
not something that's
Hmm.
ever really been on my cards.
Hmm.
Like, if I find someone that I want to be with, cool, I'm already committed to them, but I don't really need to marry them
Yeah,
because what's that to validate like how I feel towards them?
exactly.
But
And how you treat me
I
too.
think exactly how I treat you and vice versa. But I think I was thinking of it more in the sense of like, I don't want a wedding, which is a completely different
Hmm.
idea. Like, I'm not really big on having a wedding, but yeah, to be committed to somebody and to marry them in the eyes of the law,
Hmm.
I guess I'm not really so against. I'm probably more opposed to like, I don't need to have a big wedding. That's not really
Yeah.
the kind of person that I am. But I like you mentioned, I think a lot of people are more excited for the ring,
Hmm.
the wedding, the photos. Unfortunately, in this day and age of social media, everybody is out here trying to flex
Yep.
what they've got, what they're achieving. Not everybody, let me just say, like, not everybody's like that, but that's just the day and age that we live in. And when we get to see this insight into people's lives and what they're doing, it can kind of spark that idea like, I need to be doing that too,
Hmm.
right? So, yeah, I agree with you when you say, like, perhaps some people are more excited for the ring, for the wedding, as opposed to the whole big thing, which is the marriage at
Mhm.
the end of the day, like the full commitment to love this person day in, day out, no matter what kind of shit you're going through, good, bad, happy, sad, like
Mhm.
that's your commitment to stay with that person. For me personally, marriage does not validate a relationship.
Right.
However, if we look at the other side of it in terms of the law, society, government,
Mhm.
yes, it does, because there are certain privileges that come with being married
Yeah.
that don't you're not entitled to as a de facto couple,
Right.
right?
Well, I remember. Well, the de facto, it's crazy how like some countries, like once you start living together over like a certain amount of time, I think 2 years plus or 5 years plus,
Yeah,
that's considered like, oh no, you guys are to get legally together. And
legally
then you
together,
looked it
yeah.
up. When was that? Today or yesterday?
I was looking it up last night. I was like,
Mm-hmm.
does the US recognize de facto relationships? I don't know if it's like state by state laws, because I know you guys
Right.
do things like
Mm-hmm.
very state by state. But from what I could understand, it's not entirely recognized in some places,
Yeah.
like being de facto. Whereas here in Australia, you can register as a de facto couple. Like
Hmm.
you're living together, you have kids together, but you're not married, and you can still be entitled to like certain privileges because you're registered like as a de facto couple. But as I was saying, like, yeah, in the eyes of the government, I guess, because at
Mm-hmm.
the end of the day, that's what you register your relationship, your marriage with. Things You're not entitled to certain things. Like if something were to happen to either one of us and we're put on like life support,
Mm-hmm.
but we're not married, neither one of us would have a say in like what happens to them. It would go to the next of
Right.
kin, which would be like my parents, your parents,
Yep.
like vice versa. So there's that, which is like if you've been with that person for like 10, 20 years
Mm-hmm.
and you don't have
Any
the
say,
rights to
right?
like, yeah, like that's your partner, but oh, sorry, you don't have the piece of paper, so you don't really get a say.
You asked out.
So that's where I say, in a sense, like, okay, yeah, I guess maybe marriage does validate in a relationship in that sense.
It's definitely a business deal, like
Yeah.
legally. So it's you have to file together with your tax.
If you're not married, can you file together
No,
your
definitely
taxes in
not.
the
No,
US?
you
No.
you
Okay.
file separately. Actually,
But if
even if you are married, you can still file
you
separately.
can
You
do
can.
separately,
Like if
yeah.
you're married and you want to claim your kids, and then like say the
Mm.
mom claimed the kids, and then the dad filed separately. It doesn't matter, I guess, but you can still file separately.
See, here in Australia, if you're not married, you can claim taxes and do your taxes with your partner.
Mm,
If you want to, you don't have to, but
right.
over there you don't have that option, right?
No.
If you're not married.
Yeah.
Yeah. So obviously it's like different in every place, but
Hmm.
that's another thing as well. Like marriage is different in different parts of the world. Like you said,
You're
not
right.
everything goes by like some type of ceremony where rings are exchanged. It could just be like if you two are living together,
Hmm.
or there might be some type of like ritualistic ceremony that's like different to that of like what we see where we exchange rings, that kind of thing. So as you said, it's at the beginning of it all, marriage started off of like religious, like religion,
Right.
and then it kind of over time became something to capitalize off and
Yeah, for sure.
the government, right?
Hmm.
Because like I understand like the government registering that kind of thing, I get that. But if you think about like how expensive weddings are, like who made weddings so expensive?
I
Like when
mean,
did it turn into this thing that you spend 30K on? I
it's
just
insane.
cannot fathom.
That was what I was just gonna bring up. It's like, how do you feel about losing that much money in one day, and then like just to have those memories and photos and a video to look back in, and you spent that much amount of money.
And like even taking it back to like rings, like when did it become this thing where you have to spend a set amount
Right.
of your money on this? I can understand that perhaps a little bit more than an actual like ceremony wedding type
Mhm.
event because that's like something you're buying for that person and like giving them to like keep as a token
Right.
of your love. Like they wear that, they keep that. That's like
Mhm.
your like symbol to them. But for a wedding, it's like for me, it never really made sense because it's like it's a few hours of a day.
Yep. Yeah, I'm not finna blow thousands of dollars in a day where I can use it for other things, you know?
But I mean, yeah, I agree with you in that sense. But I'm not against weddings. I'm not over
Yeah,
here like
to
screw
each his
weddings. Like
own.
don't do
Like,
wedding. I mean, I would love to have a wedding, but I don't see myself making a big thing out of it because that's just not who I am
yeah.
personality wise. And I'm so glad that you're not like that either
Mhm.
because if you were like, no, we're having a big wedding, I might be like, I I don't know if I can do that.
Right.
I just, yeah.
And who started that whole the bride's father or they had to pay for the wedding?
I don't. Oh, okay. Do you know how that
I
started?
don't. Mm.
Back in the day, I'm talking olden times, like it was the idea that the daughter's parents are to give her away. In that sense, it was the job of the parents to pay for the daughter, like, please marry our daughter,
I see.
that kind of thing.
Wow.
Yeah.
Fuck that.
So that's where it started because in the sense if parents were to find like a somebody that they wanted their daughter to marry, it's like, wow, he's they put him on a pedestal, like,
They
wow, he
do.
can do all this for her, he can provide this for her, she can have your babies, she can cook and clean for you, and this is what we'll also give you if you take her,
We'll pay
please.
for your
Like that
wedding. We'll
was,
pay for the
yeah, so that's
ceremony.
like where
I
it
see.
started, like
Mm.
way back in the day where they have to like pay someone to take their daughter.
Sheesh.
Yeah.
How romantic.
Yeah, so that's that story, yeah.
Yeah, so I honestly don't think that, yeah, being married validates a relationship.
I mean, there are certain
There's
circumstances though, like,
advantages for, definitely,
mm,
but yeah, I'd say to each his own because
mm,
there's a different situation for everybody.
yeah. And like we said, it's not like we're completely against marriage. We're
Yeah, we're
engaged.
engaged.
Like we're gonna get married one day.
Yeah, pretty much.
But for us personally, like I have always said that if we were living together, like in the same vicinity, I wouldn't necessarily feel the need. I've always asked you, like,
That's
do
true.
you think you would still propose to me if we, like, were already living together? Like, if we were in the same city type thing? Is that something you think we
I
would still
think I'd
do?
still do it. I mean, I definitely still want to do it, but it doesn't validate like how solid our relationship is. So,
Mm.
and in some cases, I've said this to you before as well, is we are fortunate, and this is me looking at the glass half full again. We're fortunate that we did start this relationship as a long distance because it really forced us to communicate and get to know each other.
Yeah.
So in a way,
Hmm.
yeah, we would had probably been married already if we were living in the same city, but because we're apart, it forced us to like be somewhat married already because we know so much about each other that if we were in person, I'm not sure how much. Like, I guess we would still be talking that deep, but having this distance helped us communicate with each other and get to know each other really well.
I
Hmm.
agree because I think my communication style, even prior to being with you, wasn't as like open
Yep.
as I am with you. I probably never really let somebody get to know me on as many levels as I have let you get to know
You told
me
me that a
in
million
that sense.
times.
Yeah. Because I'm more just like yeah, if in the past, if something upset me, perhaps I'd just keep it to myself
Mm,
because it's just like I'd rather just keep it to myself. Whereas, like now, if something upsets me, I know that I can tell you because that's like the way that we've set the tone for our relationship. So,
right.
and it's like there's not really any choice because A, you're really good at reading me and knowing like
Like I know
when
something's
something's up.
bothering you for sure.
Yeah. And like B, we don't really have any other choice but to talk. Like we were saying in the beginning of this episode, being able to do the simple things like, oh, if
Hmm.
something's upsetting you, let me just take all your pain and worries away and give you a hug, like, and let's like make out and get over it. Whereas like we don't have that
No.
choice being in a long distance relationship. We really have to talk through everything, which can be very frustrating at
Yeah.
times. But I think it's definitely helped our relationship grow in the sense of how we communicate with each other,
Hmm.
which, like you said, perhaps we might not have gotten to know each other as deeply and to that kind of level as we have being apart.
Yeah.
Because it's like when you're together, you kind of just like get to know each other, get settled in your routine, and then you're just chilling.
You get
Like,
comfortable.
whereas for us, yeah, we don't really have that option. We only get to talk every day. So,
Yeah.
mm,
So the second part to this was, does it matter if your partner wear the ring when you're married? Does it matter to
yes.
you?
Yeah. I mean, if you give me a ring, I'm gonna wear the ring. I'm just saying. Like, I don't know. Like the ring itself doesn't matter personally. I am very thankful and happy that you proposed to me and gave me the ring that you gave me.
Hmm.
But I have always said, like, from the beginning, even before you proposed, if you gave me like a little, like a Coke can lid, like, that's fine. Or like just a little plain,
Hmm.
like,
String.
steel band, like, I don't care. Like, it was just the idea of like that you actually wanted to make that commitment and
Hmm.
like be engaged to me, right? But I'm very thankful of the ring that she gave me. And of course, I wear it proudly. So if I were to propose to you, or if when we get married, if you didn't wear your ring, I might take that as like, why does he not want to wear his
Hmm.
ring? Like, is there a reason? Like, is he forgetful or is he not wearing it on purpose? Because, like, let me just say this. You proposed to me with this
Right.
ring, right?
Hmm.
If I stopped wearing it, would you be okay with that?
Hell no.
Why?
Cause I need them to know you taking you mine. This is my property. We've spoken about it. I mean, there's incidents where we got together and you're like, oh, I don't know, maybe I'll just leave my ring. And I'm like, no, bring it. Like
Oh
you
yeah,
need to wear
yeah.
it.
Like yeah, I've said that cuz I wear my ring most days, but obviously there's times when I don't wear it. And like
Right.
when we are going to Paris, I was like, "Oh, I think I'm just going to leave my
Hmm.
jewelry at home because I don't want to lose it. I don't want anything to go wrong with it." And
Hmm.
you were like, "Can you not? Like can you bring it?"
Right.
If I stop wearing the ring, you might think like, "What's the reason behind it? Like why?
Hmm.
How come you're not wearing the ring?"
Wouldn't bother me much, but it would just be nice that you would wear it. Cause like some guys,
Mm,
they'll just be like, "Yo, what the fuck's going on? Like you trying to make it look like you're single?" Like guys would think that. And
mm.
even when I remember when those other incidents where like guys don't give a fuck. They're like, you got a ring. If it's not a wedding ring, it's an engagement ring. They still don't give a fuck. Like you ain't fully taken. You're not like, oh, I have a chance still.
Yeah, like talking about this is how it ties into like, does marriage validate a relationship?
Mm,
Because the amount of times that someone might have approached me
yeah.
and been like, "Oh, okay, so there's still a chance."
Right.
No, there isn't a chance, sir. Like, what do you mean? There's no chance at all. But they think like, first, it's like, do you have a boyfriend? Oh, I'm engaged. Oh, okay. So there's still a
Right.
chance. What do you mean there's still a chance? There's no chance. Like I'm in a relationship,
Right.
regardless if that he's a boyfriend, fiance, husband. But it's really fucked up because some men
Hmm.
do not recognize like if you're not married,
Right.
it's free for all. And it doesn't work like that. If I say I'm in a relationship, period, that's it, the end. Shut it down. Like we're not proceeding any further with like anything. So, damn, like tying into like, does marriage validate a relationship? For some people, if they're trying to like hit on someone, yes, it does validate a relationship to them because they're like, oh, she's married, she's taken.
Right.
But if I was just taken as like I have a boyfriend, oh, okay, so you got a little boyfriend,
A little
you
boyfriend, right?
know? Yeah.
I remember when you were working at one time, and this is before we got engaged, and you would
Mm-hmm.
always get hit on, and I would always tell you, "Hey, move your ring to your ring finger so it looks like you're
Yeah.
engaged because you want these
Yeah.
guys to like get off your back, at least."
I remember you telling me
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I for myself, I always said to see if I had like a nice, beautiful ring, I'd be proud to wear it, but the only time I'm not okay with it is if I'm doing something active. If I'm playing ball or if I'm in the gym working out,
Mm.
I don't want none of that diamonds to like touch the bar or touch the ball or get dirty
Mm.
and me sweat on
Yeah.
it. So I never really like and that's the only time I'm opposed to wearing it is if I'm either washing the dishes or maybe even in the pool. I'll be scared to wear it in the pool or in the ocean.
Yeah, I'm sure you would take it off because I
Yeah.
always take my ring off like when I'm shower, when I
Yeah.
wash dishes, like, and obviously when I'm doing something active. Like, I
Mm,
don't wear my ring when I go to the gym.
yeah.
I need to get one of those necklaces, like what nurses and doctors and such wear, that you can actually just like take your ring off and just slip it on there and it
Hmm.
stays.
Yeah, you
You don't
told me
actually
that
have to take the
recently.
whole necklace off and loop it
Oh
through.
no. So is it like a
It's got like something on the end. I don't know what the name of it is, but it's like you can literally take
hmm.
the ring and like loop it on and it knots in
Is it like a
place. You don't
small
actually have to
carabiner
take,
or like does it clip
I
on
don't
like that?
know. No, it's something to do with like the way that you thread it through the ring so that it ties into
Hmm.
place and it can't come off.
Okay.
I saw like a video about it one time and I had thought to myself like, oh, that's really handy because like there are times where like I have my ring on and I
Mm-hmm.
forgot to take it off if I go to the gym or something and I'm like, oh, and I have to take it off and put it somewhere safe because I'm so scared to lose it, right?
Mm.
But most times I go to the gym and I don't wear my ring.
Yeah.
I just leave it at
So you
home.
wouldn't be offended if I take it off in the gym, like if
Of
I don't
course
bring it,
not. I
right?
wouldn't.
Like
Yeah.
I've seen infomercials on YouTube where it guys would wear like a rubberized silicone ring for the gym and something active
Oh,
and
I don't need you to go that far
yeah,
as to like you got to have something on your finger the
I
whole
wouldn't
time,
want
like
that.
never take that
Yeah, I
off.
wouldn't want that
No.
anyways because it's like
No,
my
I'm not about
for
that.
what?
Yeah, I'm talking about like if you went from wearing a
Mm-hmm.
wedding ring and then all of a sudden you just stop and you just
Out of
didn't wear it
nowhere, you
anymore.
haven't.
And if I had like questioned you like, "Hey, you forgot your ring." And you're like, "Oh yeah." And then you just still didn't put any effort to remember to wear it. I'm going to start
Hmm.
thinking like, is he really forgetful or is he wearing it not on purpose, and what
Right.
is the reason behind that? Like would ask because that's just the way I am. But I'm not the type that's like, you have to have something on your finger every time you go out. Like, you better be wearing it. Because obviously, there's times where you forget. There's instances where you're going to the beach, to the pool, to the gym. You don't want to wear
Right.
it there. I mean, like, speaking of the gym, I
Oh, that's
wasn't
right.
wearing, I don't wear my ring when I go to the gym. And I was approached by an older gentleman, and he was nice. He was like an old
Like you gotta
guy.
tell them how old because I'm an older gentleman.
Stop.
So older,
um, he
like
was older. Like, I'm talking like Lolo. Like, he
like
was old.
grandpa, old.
Yeah, yeah. And you can tell like those kind of people, they just want someone to talk to, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think he hadn't seen me there because I went there like at a later time than I usually do,
Mm-hmm.
and so he was just talking to me, like just asking questions here and there, and I was more than okay to engage with in conversation with him. And he had asked me like, "Oh, so do you have a boyfriend?" And which was kind of like, "Sorry, why are you asking me for a
Because he
boyfriend?"
thought you were 18 or something.
Oh, that's actually how it came up because he
He
asked
thought
me,
you were
"How old are
young.
you?" He thought I was young. So when I told him my age, he was like, "Oh, I thought you were like maybe 18 to 20, and I was like, no, I'm 31. So he was very shocked by that. And then his next question was, so do you like, are you like, do you have a boyfriend, or
You're like,
are you
now
married
that
or
you're
what? And I
old,
was like,
you have
yeah, now that you're old, you better be locked down or something. Yeah. And I was like, oh, I'm actually engaged. And the first thing, his eyes darted to my hand and was like, oh, well, where's your ring?
right.
And I was like, well, I'm at the gym. I'm not going to wear my ring at the gym. I don't
Hmm.
want to ruin it. It was too beautiful to wear. Like, I don't want to
Hmm.
knock it around. And he was like, oh, okay. But it's just so interesting if I verbalize, like, I'm in a relationship, I'm engaged. Oh, but you're not wearing your
Right.
ring. So, like, why does this thing solidify, like, oh, okay, so she's telling the truth. She
You're
is
right.
engaged. She is married. Like, if there's no ring on it, then it's not legit.
It's not legit.
Yeah. Because there's been so many instances, and I'm not saying it like, oh, so many people, but I mean, as in, there's been many instances where people have said to me, like, oh, okay, so you're not married yet. I still got a chance. And it's
Right.
like, no.
In their mind, they did.
Yeah. But that's like where, in, like I was saying, going back to, does marriage validate a relationship? I guess in that sense, like it does,
Mm,
because it's like, damn, I can't even say that I'm in a relationship without that being disqualified. Like it has to be like, I'm a wife, I'm married.
right.
But what if you were like already 10, 20 years deep into a relationship, got kids with this person, locked down, committed for a good amount of time, and it's like, oh, but there's still a chance. What do you mean? I've been with this person for so long
Well,
and we have kids
they
together.
don't know your life
So,
story, so they think like you don't have
yeah.
a ring, I still have a chance.
Yeah.
So how do you
Mm.
feel about, and we've spoken about this after we got engaged. How do you feel about me wearing an engagement ring? Wow, because it's always just the women, right? Remember you told me, "Hey,
Yeah.
I want to buy you an engagement ring." Remember you told me that at one point?
Hmm. Because I actually wanted to propose.
Oh, that's right. You did tell me that too.
Yeah. And you were like, no, don't.
I was like, "No, don't do it. I have something in place and in
Because like
plan."
we spoke about like so many instances like moving forward in our relationship,
Hmm.
and I was like, I would propose.
Yeah,
Like I don't see any. It's not like I'm,
you were
oh,
serious,
I'm just here waiting. Like I'm just gonna be waiting. Like if I wanted to, I would.
right?
So part of me was like, oh, I wish that I could give him like
Hmm.
something from my behalf. Like, why does it always have to come from the other person
Right.
that you're giving me something? So, can I give you something just as much to show you my commitment to you as well? If this ring is supposed to symbolize that,
Hmm.
take this ring as a commitment that I'm going to marry you, I'm proposing to spend the rest of my life with you, and here is like a token of that. Can I give you one back?
Right.
Like, I wouldn't have a problem with that. So, yeah, I wouldn't mind getting you an
Yeah.
engagement ring, but
Yeah, I
I know
remember
for you,
you.
you're like, no.
No, it was more like financially. You were like, let's be smart about this, and if I'm gonna wear that ring, I'd rather spend that money on something when we get married that I really, really want. And like, I'm not gonna wear
Yeah.
a wedding ring and an engagement ring at like the same time like women do.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah, I
not
was
gonna
just
be
about to
like a
say.
solitaire, and then imagine at a solitaire.
Yeah, I'm gonna get you. Yeah. I'll get you like the single like diamond and
Yeah.
like, yeah.
So it's just
No.
it's like, you know what? I'll wait. I'd rather get like spend our money on something I'm gonna wear long term that I'm gonna love. So it's okay.
Mm.
It's like ain't nobody trying to hit on me.
I mean, you never know.
I'm
But it doesn't
washed.
matter anyway, because if you're not married, it doesn't
Yeah, it
count.
doesn't count.
So yeah, it's just so interesting, like especially as a female, to kind of see the way that that's received. It's
Yeah,
like, even if you were to say, I am in a committed relationship with somebody, it's like, oh, but he hasn't put a ring on it yet. So what's he really trying to do? You know how like you hear people be like, oh, I would have put a ring on that straight away. Like I would lock that down already. And it's like,
yeah, right,
yeah, as if.
right.
So yeah, those are pretty much our joint views on marriage
Hmm.
and what validates a relationship
And
and
wedding rings and
rings and such. To be honest, like at the end of the day, this is, as we have said to one another, all deemed what's appropriate by society, but like what's really good between you two as a couple
Right.
at the end of the day. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Like, take everything out of it. What really matters to the two of you? Does it really matter what ring you have,
Hmm.
or whether you had a big wedding or that you're married? Like, if you're in a committed relationship with each other, what more is there to it? Because I'm going to treat you the same way
Yep.
without those things than with those things. It doesn't really matter.
Yep.
That's why I've never understood, like, oh, I need that ring on my finger to, so that I know how to treat you. Like, what do you mean? Aren't you going to treat them the same way anyway?
And
Like,
better.
which is so like contradicting, because I'm sitting here with a ring on my finger, which I really like, obviously value and appreciate because
Hmm.
it came from you. But I'm just saying, even if I wasn't sitting here with the ring on my
Yeah,
finger,
it'd be the same.
I still feel the same
Right.
way. Yeah.
You treat me the same
So,
way.
exactly. But on the other side of it, I can understand, like, in society, there's certain privileges that do come with being married, and
Yep.
that the way that it does validate a relationship. So, yeah, let us know what your views are. I'm definitely open to hearing
Yeah,
what other people's opinions are. While I do have like certain opinions about things, I always love to hear like everybody else's
for
opinions and different
sure.
sides to stories, because the, it's endless. Like, it doesn't mean that because I think this way, that's the way I
Hmm.
am, and that's what I'll think forever, because things change. I mean, I was the type of person that didn't want to get married before, and then I met you and I was like, I want to marry you.
Yeah,
So,
you didn't want to get married or have kids.
yeah,
Yeah.
two big things
Yeah.
that I was like, I'm good without. But then I found the person that I want to do those things with. So, yeah, at the end of the day, it's just all about finding that
Hmm.
person who you want to do those things with. That's all I can really say about that.
Yep. So let us know what you guys think about the topic and comment down below if you're on our channel, our YouTube channel.
Or if you're listening to us on any streaming services, Spotify, Apple, iHeartRadio, don't forget to give us a rating and follow us so that you can stay updated with episodes as they come out.
Yep. Give us that 5-star rating.
Yes, please. That's it, you guys. Hope everybody has been having a good week so far, staying safe, looking after yourselves, and looking out for each other. And we'll catch you next week on another episode of the One Day Podcast. Bye, guys.
Deuces.